Top left, I could call, I could 3-bet. It's kind of whatever. I don't mind either. This board, I think I'm probably going to make a play at pretty often. I'll talk about the nines real quick. When Pure Profit checks this flop, I mean, I've played a lot with him. You can see we have 24,000 hands. So I've played like a ton with this guy. And he checks here. I just think he's check folding like so often because just very frequently he tends to just give me pots since he knows that I'm going to give him trouble and I'm going to make his life kind of difficult in a lot of spots. So, yeah, it's true that I'm not really ever getting check called by worse here, but the reason I bet was just because I just thought he was just going to check fold so often. And if he had something like Jack 10 or Ace Jack, I didn't want to just let him have a free card. He ends up check raising, and because I thought that was never happening, I really didn't think he was going to be check raising at all, so I should definitely just fold. In the top left, I was going to either check raise or check call the flop, because there are quite a few good turn cards for me. Like when the 4's there and I have 8-7, like a 5 and a 6 give me a gutter. Obviously heart is going to give me backdoor flush draw, and a heart's going to be backdoor flush draw, and a spade I'm going to just represent. I'm going to bet the turn and shove the river. Okay, the pocket fives, this is a mistake. I should not be betting here. I guess I was just sort of like quote unquote blinded by my equity. I looked at it, I was like, oh, I make a get shot with a 7, I should bet. But this guy, he had raised me in at least one other spot previously, and I just don't feel great about my bet here. I think I should have folded or check folded, or if the flop went check, I should have tried to call the turn. And then this is even more bigger mistake that I'm compounding on my error. This is stupid. This is really bad. Don't do this, guys. In the top left, this is a decent spot to check raise just because it's sort of like a brute force type thing where it's like, if you don't have anything, I think you're going to fold. And if you do have something, like my hand plays decently well here. Like there's actually a lot of hands on this board here in particular that I would like to be check raising there. Like 8-9's not bad because you can pick up a 6 or a 7 or a jack or a queen. Jack 9's not bad because you can pick up an 8 or a queen or a 7 or a king even. Queen jack is a good one to do it with. King jack is also decent. So like there's just like so many hands in this board. Anything with a backdoor flush draw I like check raising. Anything that's relatively connected with a backdoor flush draw is good to check raise there. But don't do what I did with the 5s because that was terrible. It was really bad. Ace Jack, isolation, definitely just going to bet this board. I prefer if I had a club, but I don't, so. I mean, when the turn comes to 10, there's nothing I can do but check fold. It's a terrible card. The Ace Jack, it's like, yeah, I do think he can be jamming some random nonsense, but I think the Ace Jack is just a little bit too weak to call. And additionally, I think that, like if I had Ace Queen, I'd probably call. If I had like 8s, I'd probably call. But Ace Jack, like, I just think I can find a better spot against this guy. He's playing 50-33 and he's on my immediate right. So I can call it off there and take a higher variance route. Even if he has like 7-8, it's like 60-40. So I'm not like super thrilled about that. But there's going to be plenty of other spots where I can get into a pot against this guy and get my money in where my equity is going to be very, very, very good very often. So in this bottom left spot, let me rewind it because I don't remember specifically the action. I called the 3-bet from Pure Profit because we're 250 big blinds deep, and I did this because I think that his hand is like incredibly strong here, and if I can flop something with the 3-5, that it's going to be very disguised to him. It's going to be very hard for him to get away from his hand. So that was what I called there. I flop a flush draw, but it's not a very good one. He bets the flop, and I have the option to raise here, but because I thought he was so strong pre-flop, I just didn't really, like, I thought that ace king I can never get to fold, aces I can never get to fold, and kings obviously I'm never getting to fold. So I just thought calling was better and just try to get there. He bombs it on the turn, and I don't really see any option but to fold at this point. Not getting good enough price, and raising makes no sense at all. So even if I were to peel, he can have like ace queen of spades, and if the river comes a spade, I don't feel that good about it. Additionally, like if I raised a flop and he had something like a big spade draw, I wouldn't feel that comfortable like betting the turn and jamming the river. I would feel comfortable putting money in on the turn. Like if I raised and he called and the turn came like a spade, I would feel comfortable betting the turn. But I wouldn't want to jam the river because I don't think that he'd be calling with worse than a flush, and 5 high flush is obviously going to be the worst possible flush, since he definitely doesn't have 4 deuce suited there. So didn't like any of my options besides the one I chose.